good season.
Been a good season. What's up, boys and girls? If you're listening, this is week 3 of the Fantasy Blueprint. We're excited to get rolling. But before we get started, guys, you got to ask, did you happen to see Kyler Murray's post on social media this week?
Got that dog in him.
I didn't see it. No.
That's one way to put it. Can I ask a serious question? How in your right mind do you think that's a good idea?
I don't know. Obviously, his media team wasn't aware of him posting that, obviously.
Do you think he's trying to distract?
I think he's really out of touch with society overall. I think he's out of touch with everything that he's involved in. Like, he plays so much Call of Duty. Like, that's one of his big things is he plays way too much Call of Duty. And it's like he's just somebody that isn't in touch with the social aspect of the world and what's happened in the past and what's a good read and what's a bad read.
I think it's a distraction.
Person to do this. I think there was somebody else that did it last year too, right? This isn't the first guy to do it.
I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, man, he's probably just trying to distract from how bad he's playing this year, but I'm not sure. Either way, it was bad.
I know Ryan Williams last year changed his profile picture to Michael Vick after they beat Georgia.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Man. All right, enough small talk. Let's dive into it, boys. Value plays. That's how we start every week. We'll start at the quarterback position this week. Gabe, I'll kind of let you lead the charge on quarterback value. What do you see out there for week 3?
All right. So I will not do this again. I didn't do it last week, but Mac Jones absolutely lit the world on fire against the Saints at 4,000. Carson Wentz is starting this week for the Minnesota Vikings against Cincinnati. He's at 4,000 salary. 4,000 is the minimum price for a quarterback. It's the backup price. You'll never get a quarterback at that price throughout the season as a starter.
Yeah.
Usually this is kind of like a glitch in the system of DraftKings where a guy gets ruled out and they still have the salary set. And I have sometimes seen where they update it and he'll go up, but like I said, that's a rare occasion. Like Jake Browning in this week, he's at 5,500 because of Burrow being out, but he was hurt during the game.
Yeah.
So with McCarthy getting ruled out during the week, they'd already set the salaries, and they usually don't change them because people enter their lineups in with a certain salary once the lineup opens up, and if you change it, his salary, then their lineup would change. You know what I mean? Like there's already people setting lineups out there with the salaries that were priced at. So
yeah,
I think that's why they can't change it. And so anyway, yeah, Carson Wentz against Cincinnati. I think he's got more experience than McCarthy, dude. I'm not saying he's better than JJ McCarthy, but if you tell me that Carson Wentz is coming in there to start with, I've seen his highs, I've seen his lows. I think there's some potential there at the minimum.
Walk it to him, Wentz, baby.
Yeah, a lot of really good salary quarterbacks this week.
Yeah,
but I think Carson Wentz sticks out to me, and then I don't really want to steal your guys' thunder with maybe the other two, so I'll just name this guy. I'll let you guys go. But Jalen Hurts is at 6,800 against the Rams, and Saquon Barkley absolutely torches the Rams. I know that. He did it last year in the playoffs, but still at 6,800 with his tush push and 1-yard rushing touchdown potential against the Rams. I think it's at home too. I think Jalen Hurts is still at an affordable price, and he's a dual threat quarterback. But I don't know if y'all seen the news about the tush push, but the NFL is starting to crack down on it. I don't know if it's the false starts by the offense or what, but it's starting to get really controversial, the tush push right now.
I like it. Cole, what you got?
All right, man. I'm starting it off with something I usually don't do, but I'm a Dak believer this week. I'm going with Dak Prescott, 5,900. Right now, I think he's 17 or 19 points per game going up against the 32nd ranked defense in Chicago. He's always going to be consistent. He's got the weapons to be successful. I would really think that he's a possible breakout, or not a breakout, but a standout performer this weekend. Another guy that Britain's got me believing in, man. Daniel Jones at 5,400.
Danny boy.
27 points per game, and I'm not really sure what Tennessee has on the defensive side of the ball. Am I a Tennessee?
We got it.
I don't think I'm a Tennessee believer. So I'm gonna trust Daniel Jones. He hasn't proved me or let us down yet this year. Let's go week 3 Daniel Jones, see if he keeps it up.
I like it.
The last guy I got, I've been pleasantly surprised with at 4,900, Spencer Rattler.
Let's go.
I believe he was ranked 9th in passing, is either passing of stats or passing efficiency in the whole league. So that's way better than people, expected. And he had 21 last game, and Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator for 49ers, called him said he was going to be a household, and he said household, and that was it. He said this guy's going to be a household by the end of the year or something like that. Now, I don't know what that means, but that's pretty positive. That's pretty positive praise.
Buddy.
He's going to be back at the house.
He had to admit he's going to be a household name, meaning that he'll be a starter in the NFL for a while. But,
he left it open ended. He might be saying he's going to be at the house, baby. Also, going back to Daniel Jones, Cole, 3 rushing touchdowns this year from the one. So always, I mean, you talk about the tush push. Daniel Jones is 3 for 3, baby. So he might be somebody to keep an eye on if he stays as low as he is. But he seems to be inching up every week on the salary front. So he may be getting while he can before he gets a little bit too high. But this week for me, I've got Carson Wentz. Obviously, Gabe hit on that a little bit. I've got a surprising pick, Sam Darnold at 5,100 this week. He's playing the Saints, and the Saints have allowed 5 passing touchdowns this year and 0 rushing touchdowns. So I feel like if Seattle wants to get in the end zone and trends continue, there's going to be a high chance for Sam Darnold to get multiple touchdown passes in this game. So that was kind of my first one outside of Carson Wentz. And then my second one is, after watching Russell Wilson last week, it's hard not to go Caleb Williams. I know he's not great, but this week may allow opportunities for them to air it out. Dallas's offense is pretty solid, so they're going to score. They're going to have to pass. I like Caleb Williams this week at 5,600. And really, from a fantasy standpoint, he's had 24 points and 18 points in 2 weeks, which really isn't that bad. So Dallas D being questionable, 3rd worst in passing per game. I like Caleb Williams this week at 5,600. That's kind of where I've landed on my 3 value picks for this week: Carson Wentz, Caleb Williams, and Sammy D. Against the Saints.
One more, Britton. I had one more.
What you got?
Was going to see if you guys said it, but Michael Penix at 5,600 against Carolina.
Yeah.
I think the tendency this week is going to be to lean heavy on Bijan in a lot of lineups. I think Bijan will probably end up being the highest owned player in the slate at 7,900. That's about 24 points. I mean, that's a touchdown and multiple catches and over 100 yards to meet that salary projection. I think you could probably get a lot of, I guess, value from Penix there if they start throwing the ball around and go away from Bijan if Carolina stacks the box. So I think he's a good contrary play to a guy that'll be heavily owned in Bijan Robinson. So that's what I think about Penix.
I think that's a good way to.
I'm gonna touch on Carson Wentz real quick. No Diddy. But this dude, I mean, he's got no pressure on him right now. He's coming in as a backup. He's got great weapons at Minnesota. I mean, Justin Jefferson, and all those other great receivers. He's going to probably come out and try and sling that thing around and with no pressure on him. I mean, that's pretty enticing for somebody that was a really high, what, the number 1 overall draft pick?
I think he was 2, but I think he was high. I mean, he was in the top 3.
Yeah, he was high. Sure. I mean, that's enticing. That's something you want to take a shot at, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. And
great weapons playing at home. I mean,
yeah, 100%. And I was going to say something about. Sorry, my computer's freaking out. You look at Kevin O'Connell too, and what he's done with quarterbacks. Quarterbacks seem to have. I mean, even Josh Dobbs in a couple of weeks with Kevin O'Connell probably played the best football he's played in his career. He revived Sam Darnold. Daniel Jones is now playing. I mean, he had a little quick stint in Minnesota as well. He's had a great couple seasons, or a great couple games. Sorry, starting out this season. So I really do like Carson Wentz. Maybe to have a little bit of a bounce back, from bouncing around from the last couple years from team to team. So good eye there for sure. But I do want to jump back to Michael Penix for a second as we transition to wide receivers value this week. I think if you go the Michael Penix route from a value standpoint, I think Drake London's sitting at 6,000 this week. I know he has a little bit of a shoulder injury, but week one he had freaking 15 targets. I mean, you talk about value by volume. That may be a guy to highlight. And since I'm kind of walking through wide receiver values right now, I'll go ahead and touch on a few of mine. And if you paid attention to the TikTok channel, we've thrown up a couple things this week, a couple videos just highlighting a couple guys that kind of outscored their salary, outscored their projection in week two. And I like De'Ami Brown this week at 4,400. Last week he had 5 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown. Brian Thomas, we talked about this a little bit before we got on video. Seems to be in a funk, doesn't seem to be able to get out of it at this moment. I know it's early in the season, but if that trend continues, I do look for Trevor Lawrence to kind of look for somewhere he can trust, and they don't have a lot of options at receiver. I think De'Ami Brown could be a good pick at 4,400 based off his he's had 50 yards receiving in both games and a touchdown. Another guy to keep an eye on, too, I know Brian Robinson's got a little bit of a wrist injury he's been practicing, though, is Parker Washington. He was the leading receiver last week for Jacksonville. He plays the same position as Brian Thomas. He doesn't get a lot of snaps. But if, for whatever reason, Brian Thomas is a last-second scratch or whatever, Parker Washington could be a guy to look out. I think he's at like 3,600 salary, very low this week. Another guy I've got highlighted on my slate this week is Matthew Golden at 5,100. I know Tucker Kraft had a knee injury today, and then Jaden Reed is also out indefinitely after surgery. So Matthew Golden, I feel like there's going to be opportunities. There's going to be targets there for him. He even got some rushing attempts last week and got 12 yards off those. He hasn't played a ton of snaps, but I do feel like with as thin as they are at receiver from injuries, because they've already, at the beginning of the season, they already lost what's-his-face. What's his name? Christian
Watson.
Christian Watson.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft's, Cole, you said earlier, he's got a knee injury in practice today. Jaden Reed's out. They're starting to get thin, and Green Bay likes to sling it. So I like Matthew Golden this week at 5,100. And then another one that's really under the radar, and I'm pulling a Gabe here, Kendrick Bourne at 3,500 this week. Arizona's got 3 defensive backs out. And this is a funny stat for you guys. Mac Jones threw 16.5% of his yardage to Kendrick Bourne in New England when he was there for a couple of years with Mac Jones as a starter. So high usage from Mac to Kendrick Bourne. And then last week, week 1, he played 0 snaps. Week 2, he had 50% of snaps. So he's kind of working his way in. So he could be a sneaky find at 3,500 this week. Especially with Jawan Jennings still kind of banged up a little bit. So a deep pool there, but that's kind of what I've circled at the wide receiver position this week. Gabe, what you got?
Yeah, I really like Kendrick Bourne, that find there. I didn't even know he was at San Francisco, so it's a good pull there. And also Jawan Jennings didn't practice this week, something to keep an eye on. We're talking about Caleb Williams at 5,600. If you like Caleb Williams, well, I got 2 guys for you.
Yes.
DJ Moore and Roma Dunze at 5,400 and 5,300. It's kind of crazy. All below 6,000 salary. And you want to talk about a way to stack, a quarterback with 2 of his best receivers there.
Yep.
Roma Dunze has been out producing DJ Moore significantly to start the season. But, DJ Moore, we obviously know he's good. So, his talent will obviously break through at some point. He'd be a good play contrary to Roma Dunze this week because I feel like it's going to be a lot more heavy on a Dunze the way he's been playing.
Yeah.
Wait for that DJ Moore breakout game. Or you could go both against Dallas. You wouldn't have been bad if you would have started Wilson last week and Malik Neighbors and Robinson last week. So, start all 3 of them. Go with that onslaught strategy, which I just found out is a real thing, just starting as many people as you want from one team if you expect it to be a high-scoring game. So that's 2 there. And I love all the receivers under 4,000 this week. There is a ton of receivers. We talked about Troy Franklin on the TikTok channel.
Yep.
His snap share is going up crazy there in Denver, and he had a good game last week. You also got Elik Ayumanor from the Titans, who's 3,700 still, caught a touchdown last week, scored 15 points.
Yeah.
And then this guy, I'm talking about being revived from the dead, Hunter Renfrow.
Yep.
3,700, got 2 touchdowns last week in Carolina. I know Cole likes him. He really wanted him at the Saints, but he had 9 targets last week and 2 touchdowns, 48 yards. It seems like might be a little with Leggett kind of struggling to break out there in Carolina. He's having a tough start. Renfro's been a little safety blanket for Bryce Young.
Yeah.
But those are 3 guys under 4,000 that I really like. And you already touched on Drake London. The only thing I'll say about that is Darnell Mooney is not questionable right now. He's been questionable with a shoulder injury the last 2 weeks, but he's at 4,500. And when he was healthy last year, he was a very productive number 2.
Yeah.
Coverage would get shifted over to Drake London. Kyle Pitts is questionable this week with a toe injury, I believe. It was a toe injury.
Hi, Kyle.
Yeah, I know, sadly. So if, Kyle Pitts is ruled out, Mooney's healthy, and London gets a lot of that coverage, you got Mooney there at 4,500. Touched on a lot of guys. Pause. Cole, I don't know what you got, but if you don't mention this guy, I'll come back to it. Go ahead, bud.
I probably won't mention it. I'm staying more on the higher end of the line on my receivers.
Playing it safe.
I'm playing it real safe. I'm going CeeDee Lamb at 8,000. Averaging 22 points a game. He's getting double-digit targets. I believe he's got 11 and 13 in the 2 games so far this year.
Yeah.
You're going up against Chicago. I don't know. Can you guys even name a DB for Chicago right now? I know I can't. It's definitely enticing.
Jaquan Brisker.
Another guy we already talked about is Roma Dunze at 5,300. He's coming off a 34-point performance in his last 2 games. He's had 9 targets and 11 targets. And the reason he just looks like an athlete, man. He's just one of those guys that you just look at him and he pops. It's like this dude has to do something. He's got that star build. And kind of like Marvin Harrison Jr., but we're not gonna get onto that because apparently he's falling off the wagon again.
No, he's good. Marvin Harrison Jr. is good. He's
and then the last guy I got, Jackson Smith and Jigba at 6,500.
You did.
He had 13.
Oh boy, you touched on him.
He had 13 targets and 9 targets in his 2 games. He's wide receiver 1 against the Saints. He gets a lot of looks. He's going to get a lot of looks this weekend. It'll be interesting to see how he does against Kool-Aid and the rest of those guys, Lante Taylor. But I feel like they have to have him going for their offense to go. So I'm going to go with Smith and Jigba as well this week, and that's the end of my wide receivers. You guys pulled out Troy Franklin and everybody else. I'm pulling out the guys that are, a little more steady, a little more sturdy.
Well, this isn't about steady and consistent, buddy. This is about potential breakout guys. All right, so we need to have another conversation about what
value finder, baby.
Yeah, value finder. I mean, you're right about value for CeeDee Lamb by volume. I mean, he's projected 8,024 points, and he's averaging about over 22. So, he's beating what he needs. He's there. He's a chalky pick, but yeah.
Yeah. Another guy we didn't really hit on, but it was on the TikTok channel, is Chris Olave. He is in double-digit targets. He's going to have a breakout week at some point. If you like the matchup this week, this may be a good time to take him as well.
Yeah.
Because I just think, if you're getting 10 targets a game, we always say value by volume. Tyreek Hill touchdown, by the way. Value by volume. That is, that's the way to go for sure. And he's only like 5,300 this week, so he's super cheap. So it might be another good option. But let's jump to running backs. RB1 value. I think we can probably, I'm going to go ahead and say this guy. We can probably all say this. I'm assuming everybody's got Jordan Mason on there.
Oh, yeah, but dude, you didn't even mention the guy that I thought you were going to go to off the rip, bro. Come on, you got it.
He may be on my list. Let's play a little game. Cole, who is Gabe referring to here?
Britton loves this guy, and I knew Jordan Mason was on my list too, but I did not think that was going to be the first name you said. I thought for sure this guy was going to be first.
Well, the reason Jordan Mason was the first guy I said, did you hear what Kevin O'Connell said this week?
No.
Let me read the quote for you. This is a quote from the head coach. I wrote it down. I'm not sure we could be more confident in Jordan as a bell cow, and he's at 5,400. No Aaron Jones. I had to put him in there,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah,
But assuming
he's
that
in
this is a
mine for
guy
sure.
I love, I'm gonna take a guess out here. Is this Travis Etienne?
No, dude, are you kidding me?
Dude,
I know who it
You
is.
know,
who is it?
dude, Ja'Cory Cross Merritt.
No, why didn't you
mean-
let me say it? Why didn't you let me
You
say it?
mean-
That was my guess. I was gonna say
Bill?
Wild Bill.
Wow, Bill,
Wild
baby.
Bill.
I do like
Bill, 5,500 against Vegas.
I
at
like
home
him.
With
I
Jake
thought
Daniels questionable.
so. The only reason I didn't touch on him as a value pick this week is because I haven't seen him catch.
Yeah.
He hadn't caught it.
Bro. So
I know Eckler's out. I know Eckler's out. They still got McNichols, and McNichols is more of a receiving back. I'm a little bit concerned about his ability to be utilized in the pass game. That's why I didn't have him on my value this week. But I do love Bill. Big Bill guy.
Wild Bill's about to eat.
I like it.
I think they're going to figure out if he can catch passes this week.
Yeah, he may be the bell cow. He may be the Jordan Mason that we think he's going to be of this week. I mean, so all right, we're all over the place. That was a fun little game here. But let's go, Cole. You haven't started us off yet. Obviously, we all got Jordan Mason. My boy Gabe's got old Bill. What you got for value this week? And we'll circle back and hit Gabe's the rest of yours and hit mine as well.
All right.
Well, you mentioned Travis Etienne Jr., so why not bring him up at 5,900 as the obvious lead back in Jacksonville, averaging 19 points a game. Get him while you can. I mean, that's a pick that is going to continue to be there until somebody steps up behind him, and nobody's done that yet. So that's one guy I have definitely as a value. The next guy I have is Javonte Williams. He's getting all the goal line carries right now at 6,100, averaging 22.7 points a game. He's going against the 29th ranked defense against running backs. So the Cowboys, they're going to have to score, like we're talking about. They have to score with that defense they got. So, I mean, I don't really think you can pick a Cowboys player and be worried about it, honestly, except for like if it's like a four-string receiver like Jalen Tolbert. But then the last guy I went with is Jonathan Taylor because he's got so much heavy volume. Obviously, he's the lead back, and I think we did mention about how Daniel Jones kind of takes away his boom factor, but that was not true last week because he went crazy for I think 157 yards, I believe. So he's just another one of those guys, man. It's just he's gonna get his touches, and that's something I think is important.
You're gonna run out of salary. You ain't got none left. You got CD, Jonathan Taylor. You're out. You're gonna put a quarterback in.
I got one more on my list. This is kind of crazy to me on the DraftKings salary side. Is if you look at the New England Patriot running back room, TreVeyon Henderson is still priced higher than Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre Stevenson's playing 65% of snaps compared to Henderson's 35%. I think everybody was super high on Henderson coming out of the draft and based off his preseason work. But Ramondre Stevenson's been a really good running back this week, or the first 2 weeks. He's at 5,300 versus Pittsburgh this week. If you look at Pittsburgh through the first 2 weeks of the season, they allowed 21.8 to Ken Walker, the third, and they also allowed 19.5 to Breece Hall. And I don't know. I know that Ramondre Stevenson is not necessarily one of those guys, but Ramondre Stevenson's ability to catch the ball. I mean, last week you saw, if you're watching the TikTok clip, he had he was in my Drake May pick, but he had a long reception down the sideline. His ability to catch the ball has been great. He's run the ball well. I think he's averaging. Last week, I think he averaged 5 yards a carry. So at 5,300, I see a lot of value there from a guy that's getting 65% of snaps and has the ability to catch the ball. So Ramondre Stevenson is on my running back value list this week. That was the only other one I had. Gabe, do you have another one?
I do, yeah. So I took a looking at some of the injuries this week. Zach Charbonnet also is questionable. He has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday this week. So
I saw that.
Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet both averaging about 50% of the snaps between the two, splitting time there. At 5,800, if Charbonnet ends up not practicing this week and is ruled out, you're going to get Kenneth Walker, an absolute stud pass catcher and running back at 5,800, which I think will be heavily owned, but it's still too good of a price to pass up.
Yeah.
And this is another guy that I think a lot of people may be down on since the Titans have been so bad, but Tony Pollard is still the unquestioned number one bell cow back. He had 8 points last week and then 10 this following week, and he had no touchdown. He's at 5,700. So with the impending return of Tyjae Spears from his hamstring injury, you're not going to be able to get Pollard's usage at this rate much longer this year. And they're playing the Colts at home, and you just think that touchdown
it's coming at some point.
It's coming at some point, whether it's this week or next. And the Colts aren't a menacing team. And Cam Ward's moving the ball, like you said, with Ridley and Aymanor. So trying to find those guys that people are going to turn away from.
Yeah,
because they're going to see Tony Pollard, Titans, they suck, and not want them. But that's the ones where you look at who's in first place, and he picked Tony Pollard. Wow, why would you do that? So I'm not saying I'm building around Tony Pollard, but I will have some exposure to him in some of my lineups just in case he pops.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you look at, and this is a good transition in our tight end segment here, but you look at like a guy like Jake Ferguson that's getting tons of targets, decent yardage, but still hadn't caught that touchdown. I mean, you add a touchdown to his first 2 weeks, and you look at a guy that's a top 2 tight end if he's not already, you know what I'm saying? So you're kind of looking, and I'm with you. These guys are getting, like Tony Pollard's got 20 carries last week.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually he's going to pop one. Yeah.
He catches passes. He didn't have any catches last week, but we saw him in Dallas. I mean, that's where he got his value at behind Zeke. Was he coming on third down? So
100%.
Yeah, he's a receiver and a bell house in the backfield. So
I like it. I like it a lot. That's a good. I feel like that's going to be a low ownership too. So that's a good route to go for sure. But we talked a little bit about tight ends, or kind of we're transitioning to tight ends based off of no touchdowns. Jake Ferguson is on my list this week against Chicago. We know that Dallas has got to score because the defense is suspect. So Jake Ferguson at 4,000, he's getting 10 targets a game, and I'm kind of at the point where eventually he's going to break a touchdown too, and then if he's already getting 10 targets, he's getting that kind of yardage. He's going to eventually pop as the number one tight end in a week. So I like Jake Ferguson a lot. And then another value by volume is Juwan Johnson. I mean, through 2 weeks, the man has been eating targets up. I mean, him and Chris Olave are both really high in targets. Juwan Johnson made an incredible touchdown catch last week, but he's only sitting at 3,900. So again, he's not necessarily a crazy price tight end, but his targets are there. And eventually you keep getting targets like that, you're going to have one of these games as 25 points, something crazy like that. So those are kind of the 2 tight ends I have circled this week. I know there's some injuries out there. You could try to take a stab at one of the San Francisco tight ends, but their offensive snaps are pretty similar. They're not getting crazy targets either. They're kind of splitting targets. But you can find guys on the injury list and try to make a pick. I think that hurt us a little bit last week with Calcaterra, just a different type of tight end than Goddard is. So you just have to be a little bit careful if you're going to go injury. But, Gabe, I'll kind of switch gears because I know you'll probably want to talk about that a little bit, and you can talk value here at your tight end position.
Yeah, obviously, if Kyle Pitts has 0 fans left, I'm dead. So that's 3,900. I'll see what I think I'm checking his injury real quick. I think it was it was a toe injury. So yeah, he's got a toe injury. He was limited. I don't think that's going to impact his availability on Sunday. I think he'll play, and his salary has gone down each week, but he's still getting about 7 to 8 targets a game. And I still think he's going to pop at some point. I mean, his talent's too good. Penix is spreading the ball around. He's on pace right now this year for about what he's been averaging, which is about 870 something yards on the season. But that's if he averages like 50, 60 yards a game the rest of the year, which I don't think he will. I think he'll get somewhere around 70, 80. So I think he's on pace for 1,000 yards. Like I'm still heavy high on Kyle Pitts. I think this could be a week where he gets that 120, 130 yard performance against Carolina and maybe scores a touchdown. I just think he's just too cheap. especially with them with Bijan, being the threat that he is. They're gonna have to look over the top. Anyway, and then my last guy, which I think he kind of falls on the low ownership side. New England's dead last against tight ends. You got Jonnu Smith. He's getting 5 to 6 targets a week with Aaron Rodgers there. I think he'll be a good play against New England. Jonnu Smith. He was good in Miami with Tua. You can tell
he's caught a touchdown this season already too. So
yeah,
he's an end zone target.
Yeah, 3,600. I like Jonnu Smith. Low ownership probably.
Good pick. Cole, what you got?
Yeah, we're going to talk about two of our guys, Juwan Johnson and Jake Ferguson. But to touch on Juwan Johnson here, I mean, he's just a big target for a young quarterback. He's such a big guy. He's easy to find whenever Spencer Rattler drops back and he has to feel like he's panicking. He just sees Juwan Johnson and he can just throw it to him. It's just easy to see. And I feel like that goes a long way with a young quarterback. So that's one of my guys that I have.
He's a matchup problem. I mean,
yeah,
he's just a big receiver. He's a big receiver.
He's too big for corners. He's too fast for linebackers. I think if you have a good safety, you could maybe give him some problems. But I still think he's still too big for a safety.
Yeah, and then Jake Ferguson at 4,000. Him and Dak have really good chemistry. It seems like Jake Ferguson's always having a good year when Dak is healthy. Last guy is Harold Fanning Jr. at 3,600. We talked about him some last week. The Bowling Green Falcon. He's averaging 11, and I'm waiting on his breakout game. It seems like everybody loves that guy down there in Cleveland. The coach Stefanski likes him a lot, and they say he's carving out a role in that offense, and I think he is. And I think I'm just waiting on him to finally have that game where he scores that touchdown and get some good receiving yards to go with it. So those are my three tight ends that I got. We already covered two of them. So
I will throw one more name out there as Dallas Goedert at 3,700. He was a limited practice participant this week. So if he does suit up at 3,700, the way the Eagles' offense has played this year so far is they don't really have any desire to throw it over the top right now. And Dallas Goedert seems to be. I mean, week 1 he had 7 targets. He didn't get a lot of yards, but he had 7 catches, 7 targets. So I think if he does play just from a target standpoint, and it seems like Jalen Hurts is, or for whatever reason, this new offense, they're not really taking shots. So if that trend continues, he may be a sneaky pick at 3,700, possibly low ownership too, coming off an injury. So just something to think about as you're building your lineups this week. But let's nobody else has any tight ends today.
Well, I want to say something real quick. Kyle Pitts and his toe scares me to death. Scares me to death. A toe injury right now is like the Salem witch trials. You might as well say he's conjured up fire, because with Brock Purdy and his toe injury that he just got, if Kyle Pitts has something similar, he's going to be out for a while too. And we're talking about somebody that doesn't need that injury to happen. Kyle Pitts is in desperate need of not needing that injury to happen.
Dude, at this point, I don't read too much into an injury report on Thursday.
Yeah,
with it being like they find a lot of things to avoid practicing, and if he's 100%. A full practice participant on Friday or Saturday, then I think he'll be fine.
Load management, baby.
Load management. We'll see what the only thing that is concerning was he practiced fully on Wednesday, and then he was limited today. So it sounds like he picked it up on Wednesday in practice, but who knows? He may have just stubbed his toe in the shower or something. Who knows?
It's possible.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what is it. We don't know what happened.
He might have kicked the bench or something on accident walking
his
in.
Might just be ripped off. We don't know what his deal is. Like, he'll play
Suck
through
it up, dude. Play through a toenail. You're missing a toenail, dude? You serious right now?
Let's jump to core fours. Cole, I'll let you lead us off in your core 4 for this week. Hey, hold on. Actually, before you go, Gabe, you have a notepad in front of you?
I do, yeah.
Let's play a little over under. Does his core 4 salary go over 25,000?
Combined?
Combined.
Yes. Over.
Let's see what we got.
It'll be close, fellas. It'll be close. We got Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott at 5,900.
Okay.
I threw in a name in there that we didn't really touch on, but I'm going to have him in a lot of lineups. Alvin Kamara. I believe he's at 6,500. Roma Dunze,
Okay. It's going to be close.
All right, it's gonna be close.
and Harold Fanning Jr.
Oh, yeah, he's way under.
You're below. What is he at? 3,600.
Yeah, he's at 3,600. So
Okay,
You
now.
didn't mention him in the value tight ends though, did you? Did you?
Yeah, he
mention
did.
him?
Yeah, I
He
did.
did.
Yeah, I
He
did.
did.
Okay.
All right, hold on. Time out. Now read me your real list.
That is a real list. I got it. I got it written down in my doctor handwriting right here. See if you can read that here. It's all there.
I'm just messing with you, dude.
I'm much more impressed by that list than what you've done in the past. That was a good list. Thank you, Cole. That was good. Give the people what they want. Give them what they want. Actually, give them what they need, not what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Give them what they need.
Give them what they need, baby. All right, Gabe, what you got?
All right. Carson Wentz, 4,000. I won't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Jordan Mason, 5,400. I was already on him, pause, but then you said that he was going to be a bell cow workhorse from Kevin O'Connell, which I did not know.
Yes.
So that makes me really, really like it now. And then my last two, I'm very on the fence, but as of right now, I will go Kyle Pitts, 3,900. And pending the injury to Zach Charbonnet, I'm going Kenneth Walker, 5,800. Subject to change. We'll be monitoring the TikTok channel if you want to see injury updates and things for the core four. But that's what I'm right now.
I think your core four might have been more expensive than Cole's, and that is definitely a first in the blueprint history.
I'm gonna have to change it real quick. I'm gonna have to see.
So my core four this week, I've got Carson Wentz as well, Gabe. I've got Jordan Mason also. And then I've got Ricky Pearsall at 5,500. Right, white boy Rick. He's getting like I might have to double check myself, but I think he's getting like 20 to 25% of the first reads in the offense, and he's at 5,500 against Arizona, who's missing three defensive backs. So I do like that a lot. If Juwan Jennings is 100% healthy, that may be the way you lean, but I like Ricky Pearsall this week. And then my final one is Rome Odunze at 5,300. Value by volume, I think you got to play him this week. I know he'll be high ownership after week he had last week, but I just think against the Dallas defense, it's got to be a guy you build around this week. That is my core four.
So give it to me one more time, Britton. You had give me their salaries with it.
I've got Carson Wentz at 4,000. I've got Ricky Pearsall at 5,500. I've got Jordan Mason at 5,400. And then I've got Roma Dunze at 5,300, I believe.
Now, Cole is still the most expensive at 21.3, so 21,300. I'm at 19.1. Britton, you're at 20.2.
I like it.
Cole's still the most expensive, but that was much better, much closer.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to pick all the backups next week.
I'm going to be honest with you, though. There is a chance if a receiver, if Juwan Jennings doesn't suit up, I'm going Kendrick Bourne on my core four.
Oh, I agree. That's what I'm saying. There's just a lot of injuries to monitor, but if Kendrick Bourne plays, he's going to be a huge get.
Yeah, such a cheap such a cheap cost there. So I went ahead and ran the AI optimal lineups for this week. Carson Wentz is your starting quarterback at 4,000. Jonathan Taylor is running back 1 at 7,200. Christian McCaffrey, 8,200. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 6,500. Garrett Wilson, 6,200. Tyrod Taylor will be his quarterback this week, so just something to monitor. Roma Dunze at 5,300. Your tight end, Tyler Warren, 4,400. Jordan Mason is your flex at 5,400. And the Steelers defense rounds us off in the final spot at 2,800. And that is a projected total of 146.3 points. So just kind of to give us a benchmark on what we're looking at for this week versus the computers. Gabe, I'll let you start us off. What is your optimal lineup for week 3? I know it's subject to change when we get more injuries, but as of this moment, where are you going?
Yeah, I don't know what my projected score is right now, but I'm going Carson Wentz at 4,000. And we lost C-Swag.
Oh, my God.
I'm here. I just got to look at my lineups on my phone here.
Carson Wentz, 4,000. Jordan Mason, 5,400. Kenneth Walker, 5,800. And then it gets real chalky. Jamar Chase, 8,100. Nico Collins, 7,300. stack Justin Jefferson 7,500. Then I got Kyle
Golly.
Pitts at 3,900, and then I
Jeez.
got Big Bill 5,500, and the flexi with the Titans defense
Man,
2,500.
dog, I hear you. Yeah, you went 3 of the top 5 wide receivers there. That's what I'm talking about. Save that salary, baby.
It gets chalky. There's a Cole gets his thing figured out. There is a detriment to going super high chalk receivers because most likely Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, and Jefferson won't be the top 3 highest scoring receivers this week. Most likely there'll be a guy, either Roma Dunze or DJ Moore, somebody that pops off and goes for 30, and most likely won't be always the highest 3 salaried receivers. But with Wentz being as cheap as he is, and also some of the running back values I had, I could spend up and hopefully they get me some production similar to what the high scoring receivers will be this week.
I love it.
I can read off my lineup whenever you're ready. I just gotta make sure. I just gotta read it off.
Go ahead, read it off. Go ahead.
All right, y'all made a joke. Y'all were like, "Oh, he's not gonna be able to fit all these guys in his lineup." Salary, you know, ha ha ha, he he he. All right, well here it goes. Dak Prescott at 5,900. Travis Etienne Jr. at 5,900. Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb, Roma Dunze, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Harold Fannin Jr., Alvin Kamara at the flex, and the Bengals defense against Minnesota.
I like it.
All right.
I like it, baby. Oh, Tua, no.
No, Tua, what do you do? Throw a pick, I'm behind.
Yeah, he threw a pick. Dang.
Oh, well.
That might be it for Tua. We might be seeing, what's his face? Texas quarterback, Quinn Ewers. Golly, he's been bad. Okay, my optimal lineup, I've got Carson Wentz at the quarterback position, Jordan Mason at my running back 1. I've got Bijan Robinson this week. I've got CeeDee Lamb. I've got Rome Odunze, Ricky Pearsall, Jake Ferguson, Bucky Irving, and then I've got the Texans defense. That's kind of where I'm landing, and my total projection is a little bit lower. It's at 137.3, but I like Pearsall this week, so it's kind of a gut pick, and then I like Bucky Irving this week, so it's a little bit of a gut pick as well. Speaking of gut picks, one of my favorite segments that we get a chance to talk about every week is our plum picks. Last week we didn't really do this because we were in a little bit of a rush as we were going, as the Wagner boys were heading up to watch the Tide roll on Saturday. But we will spend a little bit of time here throwing out our plum picks. Cole, give me your plum pick for week 3.
I've said this name so much. Man, I'll tell you what. I'm feeling that there's a Daxter piece coming.
Mm.
Give me Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott plum pick. I like it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Gabriel, what you got?
Tony Pollard. Not
Tony.
Yeah, I've got too much Titan in me. Pause.
Oh man. So my plum pick this week is going to be, I've used this once already in week 1, but I like Ricky Pearsall this year. I think he's undervalued. I have Ricky Pearsall at 5,500 for my plum pick. Last time I said he was a plum pick, just FYI, he went for 100 yards receiving. So hopefully I'm giving him a good, some good juju here, and he goes for 100 again. Also, I just wanted to, before we finish up this podcast, I did want to toot my own horn really quickly. So feel free to toot y'all's own horn later in just a second. But I think you can start calling me the quarterback whisperer. I'm just saying that right now because I am 2 for 2 on my top quarterbacks with Daniel Jones absolutely dominating. And he's still thriving off that pick in week 1. And then Drake May last week had an absolute banger performance. 2 for 2. So if you liked any of my quarterbacks this week, stay away because I will have just jinxed myself and go for 3. So I did have to shout that out real quick because I think it's hilarious. But any no touchies for week 3? Anybody think through that for this week?
No real games on the. Let me check again, but there's no really games on the schedule that I'm kind of staying away from. Like I said, all the games that I was looking at, the value seems like it's there. I don't see any like defensive, you know, stalemates that low scoring games. I think the only real game that could be concerning is Denver and the Chargers, but I think the Chargers offense is good enough to score on Denver, and I think the Chargers defense isn't good enough to shut out the Broncos. So there's not really a game out there where a really, really good defense is going up against a terrible offense like a Denver or Carolina or something. So I don't really have any no touches this week. I think the field's wide open for me.
Yeah, I think the one that scares me slightly is the Green Bay Cleveland. I could see that one getting a little bit ugly, just like it did last week with Baltimore and Cleveland. That one makes me a little bit nervous because that's what absolutely just screws up fantasy projections is when you get backups coming in, screwing everything up because you can go get a guy, that Walker guy for Baltimore. If somebody had $3,000 salary left over last week, go snag him at receiver. Dude caught a freaking touchdown. Like,
yeah,
at that salary. I mean, that's the thing that always makes me a little bit nervous, and that's kind of where I'm leaning this week is a no touchy because that game worries the crap out of me because I could see that one getting to 40-10 like it did last week. So that's kind of where I stand on that game. The other ones look like they're going to be pretty competitive, but that one makes me a little bit nervous. Cole, you got any no touchies?
Yeah, Debo Samuel, and then I wouldn't pick Lad McConkey this week because I feel like that's a really tough matchup. He's gonna be. I'm assuming he's gonna be shaded by Pat Surtain the whole game, and that just seems like a matchup.
I don't think so. I think they'll put McConkey in the slot, but I agree.
You think so?
I think they'll put. I doubt that Harbaugh is gonna line up McConkey out wide against Surtain all game. I find that hard to believe. I think that's a terrible matchup. I don't.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be.
It'll be Johnston.
That's gonna be rough.
Johnston's gonna get the Surtain treatment, unfortunately.
Well, he's having a good year too. I tell you what, somebody we haven't talked about that could possibly be a value is Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's having a great year right now, and he's getting open in the end zone every time they get out there. So that's a guy I probably should have included on my list besides the three guys that were expensive. But
yeah, he's 4,700 this week.
Yeah, I mean, why not take a flyer on him if you think that Surtain's gonna be on McConkey, and then who's the other guy that's really good on the other side? I can't remember his name. It's a white corner, I can't remember. Anyways,
the unicorn.
Yeah, but yeah, that's my no touchy is McConkey right now.
Awesome. Well, any other things you want to add before we wrap up a week 3 segment?
No, find those guys, man. Find those low ownership guys. Find the guy that separates you. Pause.
Yep. Pause, yeah, no doubt. That is a big time pause right there. Good grief. I don't even that one threw me so far off. I'm shook right here. But hopefully, like Gabe said, hopefully you can find those gems hidden. Stay tuned to the TikTok channel. We've highlighted a couple guys this week. Gabe's mentioned them earlier, but we're trying really hard to take deep dives every week to try to find you some of these gems that are popped and still stay at low salary, so that you guys can kind of hopefully build positive money-making lineups. So just kind of stay tuned to the TikTok channel. Hopefully we can provide a little bit of information to guide you. But happy hunting in week 3. Hopefully all goes well. We're all celebrating. We're all retiring. But we'll see what happens. But that's it from the print. We'll catch you in week 4. Stay tuned to the TikTok. See you guys.
See ya.